Another extraordinary day it is. I wanted to first of all give thanks and honors to the ancestors and spirit guides who keep me tuned in, all of the angelic beings, extraterrestrial beings, multidimensional beings that consistently realign me with the best version of myself. So it's been an extraordinary journey. I think it's been a few months since I've posted a live. And it's interesting because I did a Facebook live yesterday for the first time. And this is why I'm posting this video today, because now I realize I need to start talking all of the time, because I did the Facebook live yesterday to congratulate my sister, my niece, because my niece got accepted into the STEM program. And it costs like $4,000 to be able to get in. And I just wanted to wish them well. And I knew that they're going to find the resources. And if not, there are many other resources that can be utilized. For example, and I'll be closing my eyes a lot from here on out whenever I'm speaking so that I don't get too distracted by what my eyes are seeing. But that's something that I learned from Dr. John Henry Clark. Shout out to him. Shout out to the triple OG elder for always sharing gems and always giving us hidden gems in our culture and society, and identifying the greatness within us all. So shout out to him. But I was making a video to show appreciation and thanks for my sister doing such a great job. My niece is I think she's about 10 now. And she has she's very passionate about learning. She really loves and enjoys learning. And that's not an easy task to be able to conjure in a child. Either they have that desire, they have that bug to want to learn, or they don't. And I was just making sure that they know that I appreciate them. And I wanted them to know that there are other sources as well to be able to cultivate these fundamentals of education. And I gave examples like that's funny. Um, there's Brother Kaba Hiawatha, also known as Booker T. Coleman. He's an educator, and he's been dropping gems for a while. He's created entire courses for young folks as well, and he's created curriculums in throughout the decades that really get children oriented, get little people oriented with their fundamentals of math and science and the origins and how these correspond with spiritual awareness on a deeper level, by raising self-awareness as well as those faculties to be able to process on a high level. He's a master of this. He's been educated he's been educated at being an educator, and he has been an educator for decades, easily over 30 years. So that's one brother. Another brother is Seven Bomar of the Secret Energy. He co-creator of creator of the Secret Energy platform. And he has a lot of different educational tools that he focuses on the young people being made aware of the dynamics that are happening within the invisible realm and how to correlate them to material understanding on a deeper level. Another brother is the young brother 19 Keys, who I've just seen. He's kind of a newer cat on the scene, but he's still pretty dynamic. And I think he has a block word order where has a curriculum that teaches folks of various ages to understand, I think, the blockchain technology and its fundamentals as well. And so that's something else to check out. And another brother, who was the last person I mentioned, is Dan Winter. He is an electrical engineer by trade. I think he worked for NASA and IBM, and he's internationally renowned as far as being able to draw correlations between the material realm and the invisible realm. And he's very astute in his awareness and in his calculational processing capabilities. So these are individuals, I think, that are also, they have curriculums, and they're not just lecturers, but they have curriculums that can help guide and that can help place young people to deeper levels of fulfillment. And that's what I was talking about in the video. So the Facebook Live was like 6 minutes long. And I was speaking about people kind of not knowing what they are working towards when they are in grade school in America. And they kind of get, because they get pulled into this paradigm of appeasement to their authority figures based off of how they are conducting themselves in school and how they are memorizing these different courses. They get pulled off of a path of inner fulfillment because the first 12 years of their life, they are having to go through this memory crucible to where they're not being educated based off who they are as individuals, but they are being educated based off of how well they remember and how well they process information that is compartmentalized. So they don't actually, you don't actually know the fullness of scope of why you're remembering this information, nor are you in full awareness that this information, that these curriculums were created by the colonizers and leaders and captors of industry whose sole purpose is to continue to perpetuate their business endeavors while utilizing the leverage of individuals who are compartmentalizing their education. They're using that compartmentalization to put you in a department to maximize the growth of their business. There's nothing wrong with this. It's all done voluntarily, but just people aren't made aware of this. So it's our goal as men, as parents, as leaders of our family and leaders of community to make sure that we are emphasizing the balance. Yes, you are in this particular density and in this paradigm to where, you know, you have certain obligations and responsibilities that you need to take care of materialistically. But you also need to be aware that you are a spiritual being who chose to inhabit a physical body for a particular type of soul experience. And so many times people are not aware of this dynamic. So they are led off of their path thinking that they are the body, that they are, just the results of the genetic makeups of their parents, and not realizing that you are the results of millions of ancestors, and that you have reincarnated thousands of times, if not millions of times. I'm not sure of that type of number, but you have reincarnated many times over. And it's in this reincarnation, you have chosen to have a certain type of experience that your soul wants to have so that you can continue to expand your database as a soul, as well as the database of the entire conscious collective of the universe, of the supreme being, of the grand architect, by also uploading information of this experience, because we are the supreme being having a human experience in this avatar body. So the key is fulfillment on a grand scale and fulfillment on an individualized scale. And because people get caught into this appeasement, and the score being the money, quote unquote, the money system, not necessarily the money system, but people kind of look at score and validate individuals based off of their career and how much quote unquote currency that they are able to accumulate, represented by money, because they feel like this is what validates them. Then they kind of chase after money. They don't chase after soul fulfillment. And this right here is what leads to people having these midlife crises at various age groups. Some people are having them, and that's how you know that older souls are reincarnating, because people are having midlife crises, quote unquote, the term midlife crisis. They're having these crises of fulfillment very early in their lives now, whereas before people were having, like, quote unquote, the midlife crisis at their 40s and their 50s. Now you have young people having these crises in their 20s, in their mid 20s, in their 30s maybe, and that's a big deal. That's a great thing though, because it speaks about the crisis is whenever your soul realizes and makes your consciousness known that it is not satisfied. It is not at ease with its experience. And you consciously have to make a decision on why are you not at ease on an internal level. You have to make you have to become aware first and then make decisions to walk that course of soul fulfillment. And it's our job as guardians, as parents, as elders in society to guide the youth as much as we can, unapologetically, to not just appease the machine and the matrix, but to make sure that these young folks know it is okay to not conform. It is okay to not conform. In fact, that may very well be your soul's purpose, is to not conform and to have the courage to not conform to what the social norms are. So I'm speaking about this in gist in this Facebook Live, and uh, uh, my live cuts short. Now, I wasn't aware. I thought that the amount of time you could have on the live, because I've seen long lives done. They're like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. I think the max you can have is like an 8-hour Facebook Live. My live was cut short after about 6 minutes once I began to speak on this soul fulfillment thing. And it was cut short, and then not only was my live cut short at the 6 minute mark, but then my live was edited to about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Once I started talking about soul fulfillment, it did not go into that. It cut my live off at, like, when I started talking about people's confusion and disorientation about why they're learning the subject matter. Once I started to talk about this soul fulfillment and the disorientation that may take place as once they have a certain course of study, that live was cut off. It was edited and not shown beyond that part. I don't even have the full version of this live. It's not to be seen again, but I was talking about this. So that let me know that these are things that I need to talk about more and more and more and more and more. I need to make very, very sure that people know how to find various indications of soul fulfillment and to get into this alignment of it at all cost. At all cost. This needs to be paramount information shared from parent to child, from guardian to guarded. As men, we need to make sure that we are standing up as men for our children, for our little people, for the people that we care about that are around us, for our nieces, for our nephews, for our cousins, and even sometimes for our parents, for our grandparents. We need to make sure as men that we are not allowing, that we are setting the groundwork, that we are opening up the awareness so that the groundwork can be laid so that these people are able to have a deeper understanding of what they are doing in this incarnation. There are more and more people becoming aware of themselves being more than a human being, being more than a physical body. And this is what is termed as waking up. The awakening is taking place. Because now you say, okay, it's not just about me having a roof over my head and clothes on my back and food in my stomach. And these are all paramount. These are all critical to the experience. Having these things taken care of is critical. Even more critical than this is ensuring that you are fulfilling your soul's calling. How do you understand? How do you figure out what your soul's calling is? There are many different ways. There were systems in place in previous cultures that allow a process to take place where it would be something called initiation. Folks, and even there are certain cultures where this is still taking place now. You know, you have the Sweet 16 for the females and the quinceañera, I believe it's called, in Hispanic cultures. Jewish cultures have a certain thing where the man, once he becomes, I think he's a teenager, or once he hits puberty, he has this thing where it's a rite of passage. Rites of passage were how were big indicators that a person is now ready to learn about more of who they are in ancestry as well as in beingness. And in America, there are not there are not these landmarks. There are they these landmarks, these pivotal points in the experience and in the growth of the experience, in the growth of the person. They are not here. From Jump Street, you are smacked on your ass and injected with chemicals to alter your mind and beingness. And there have been studies that have shown that from that point forward, you are different. People are different. Circumcision done on male children a day or two at birth, or sometimes the same day, but I think it's usually like a day or two. These create a catastrophic effect that is sometimes not ever it's not ever balanced back out. You know, there's a certain trauma that takes place at these points, and you may never be the same again if you aren't able to get into that core of consciousness or awareness in that space and time and recalibrate it. If you're not able to get into yourself and get into your beingness on a deeper level through transcendental meditation, through hypnotic regression, then you may be stuck in this space of beingness until you are able to get out of it. And you might not ever get out of it if you don't ever become aware of it. The first step of change is awareness. So it was shocking to me that I wasn't speaking about the smack sheen, the ailments that has created a pandemic. I wasn't speaking about that. I was speaking about soul fulfillment. And they cut the live off, and they edited the live, and they posted under the comments something said about community standards. Now, I have been in violation of community standards before on Facebook one time because they said I was spreading false knowledge because I shared a post. Another time because I shared a post that was about the virus, about the ailment. This might not even be shared because I spoke about that. I made that term. I said that word, but I called it the smack scene. But anyway, I'm going to talk about soul fulfillment every fucking day from here on out, because that seems to be an issue. And if this is an issue to the machine, then it's a point that we need to build on, because the machine is chewing people up and spitting them out, the bones. People are lost and confused in various age groups, because this is not about age. It's about how much are you willing to sacrifice to receive these downloads of light? How much are you willing to transform yourself into becoming a vessel to receive the transmissions clearly from your higher self, from your multidimensional self that has transcended this density and is in beingness right now in these very moments? How much are you willing to sacrifice to create this divine union, of this divine merger of multidimensional awareness? And a lot of folks aren't willing to give up their comforts. They're not willing to give up their associations. They're not willing to give up some of the family members' interactions and some of the dietary traditions and some of the cultural entertainment traditions to advance their consciousness and to advance their beingness, to merge with their divine multidimensional self that are beyond this density. I am willing to make those sacrifices. Other people, other superb, extraordinary souls are willing to make these sacrifices, because we know how important it is to ground higher levels of light and consciousness, awareness, all one and the same. We realize how important it is to ground this awareness onto this earth, onto this plane, so that we can terraform this plane of existence through light first, and then this correlating with frequency, and then the material world will reflect this grounding of this light, of this awareness. So the question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? My phone's cutting off.